Hey, this is Diane Gibbs with Recharging You and Finding Your Superpower and Telling Your Story. And we're just going to jump right in. This is 10 tips for connecting with new clients. So the first thing you should always do is remind them who you are and how they met you. When you're calling on a new client, literally on the phone or through email, you should definitely always remind them who you are and how they met you. If you're using the phone, use proper phone etiquette after reminding them how they know you or how they found you. And then always ask, is now a good time? If you have to leave a message, either with a person or on a machine or voicemail, whatever. Who uses machines? I have no idea. My parents. So if you have to leave a message, make sure you repeat your name and number twice. Once at the beginning and once at the end. If there was shoddy cell service, they will for sure get your number. One of my pet peeves is getting a phone call from someone who's on a cell phone and they say their number only once, or they say it so fast, or the reception's so crappy that I can't get all the digits. So you can guarantee if I can't get all 10 digits, I definitely can't call you back. So make sure you say your name twice, once at the beginning and once at the end, and then at the end, repeat your number twice. The second tip is schedule a time to talk. So ask them, if it's a good time, and if it's not a good time, then ask them when a good time would be and schedule a time. Or if you're emailing them, ask them when a good time to talk is. Don't just assume that your downtime is a great time for them. Make sure you're in front of your computer. If you can't meet in person and you have to call on the phone or do a Skype or some sort of video chat. Obviously, you want to meet in person if you can, but that's not always possible. I live in Alabama. I have clients in Colorado and in California, not to mention other places, but it's a little hard for me just to pop on a plane to go meet a client, every week or so. The next best bet is to meet via video chat. So something like Skype or Google Hangouts or even FaceTime could work. And if they aren't available for one of these methods, then on the phone is the last appropriate option. So I've even I have some extra, they're not very expensive, webcams, because a lot of times I really do a lot of work with small businesses. So I'll be like, oh, well, if you just need me to send you a webcam, it's like $10. And then you send it to them and they're already feeling connected to you because of that. Otherwise, you can send them a link to get one or whatever. So please don't ever have your initial meeting, your consult, whatever you call it, using only email. It's really easy for them to say no. So why is it important to connect face-to-face? Well, it builds bonds. So stronger bonds are built through face-to-face communications and connections. Body language is also responsible for much of our interpersonal and cultural communications. So you're going to be able to express interest, confusion, agreement, and even excitement better if you can see each other. So here's an example of me as I was interviewing Mina Khalili. And it's just nice because I can see what her expression is. And if she's taking a little bit of time, I'm not going to interrupt her. As when you're on the phone, it's a little bit easier to get distracted. So number 3 is do the research on them. So this is really important. So are they on social media? You should watch their posts. What's important to them? Family, work. So track them for a week. See how many times they post, where they're most active and what times a day. What are they posting on their blog, their newsletter, on social media to reach their audience? So do they even have a newsletter? Does their company have a newsletter? If so, sign up for it. If not, that's a way you can help them. Ask them if they run a blog, or research in and see if they do, or they have an old blog, something like that, and read it. Try and read about 3 months worth of posts. If this was a blog that they had 3 years ago, it's probably not very important to read it, that they haven't kept up with it, but it's good to at least know where they were at a certain company at a certain time. Why did they stop doing their blog? Whatever. Number 4 is create a Google alert. Again, obviously, we're wanting a little bit of time in between before the initial meeting. You can't just set up a Google alert and expect everything to come to you with that person's name in the next minute. So you want to make sure that you have a I usually schedule things out a week in advance, so I don't know if other people are like that or not, but I can usually get a Google alert working for me within about a week, and it helps me to analyze a new client. So why do I need to do this? It's really simple, and it can inform you of their impact on their network and their communities. You can see how often people are mentioning them on review sites, on blogs, on social media. If they aren't getting mentioned, then that's a problem you can help them solve. Make sure that you're checking out what other people are saying. If it's a service, what they're saying on a review site. If they're not on any review sites, analyze that and see why. Those are things you can ask them about, and they're digging a little deeper than just standard questions. So Carol Manser, she's a writer for My Second Million, and she explains how to create a Google alert. And the link is right there, and you can click it if you just want to go to her site and see what that is. But I'm going to kind of break it down for you. She breaks it down into 4 steps into creating an alert, and I'm going to take you through them. So you first go to google.com/alerts. Then you're going to log into your Google account. If you don't have a Google account, that means it's just a Gmail account. Just create one. It's free. You're going to pick keywords or phrases that you want to track. Maybe it's something general, or maybe it's a specific phrase that client uses. And then you want to manage the alerts, and I'm going to take you through that process. This way you know what's current and can have an educated conversation because you know about their company and their current business to consumer message. So here's the Google alert tips. So keywords or phrases. So if you use quotation marks, I have a client, her company is Walks and Wags. And if I want to use the exact term, then I need to limit my search by using quotations between that. That means Google will only search for the words walks, a space, the word and, a space, and wags. I may want to do another search for walks, space, ampersand, space, wags. And again, exact. I might do 2 searches, one for walks and wags without any quotations. That's just our general. It's going to pull anything that has those terms in it, but not the exact like this. The next one is replace the word with a relevant phrase. So if I was looking up creative block, but maybe people don't always call it block, you could just put an asterisk there, and then it will allow you to broaden your search with an asterisk. So it's going to create words that are similar. It's going to replace that word with another word or phrase. So instead of creative block, it might be creative stump or whatever. Then when you put a tilde in front of it, it widens the results because it starts using synonyms and related terms. So I'm saying creative superpower, it may come up with a whole new phrase that is synonymous with this creative superpower. And then it also can create a filter. So I have a web show called Design Recharge, and I don't really need it to be telling me, I don't need to get a Google alert every time I post something on my own site. So I just have a negative sign or a minus sign, a hyphen, a dash, whatever you want to call it, right in front of the word site, and then a colon, and then rechargingyou.com. If you don't want to take any information that's from Twitter, just do a negative sign, the site, colon, twitter.com. Pretty easy. You also can control frequency and the sources of where you're getting this information. So first, let's just talk about the frequency. You can actually get it as it happens, which seems like that would be blowing up your email address because you're going to have it sent somewhere. And then you can do it daily or you can do it weekly. And you can see I have mine set up for at most once a day. And then you have the sources, and that's the actual stuff that you see right there. And it says automatic. That's for me. I'm just looking up right now. I'm just looking up anything automatic. But what I may want to do is just look up other books. Say I was thinking about writing a book about creative block. I would want to just search other books that are doing that. Or maybe I already have a book on creative block and I want to join the discussion and start sharing my book with others. So maybe I would just search for blogs or maybe just search for discussions. And then over on the right in the little black box is how it's going to be delivered to. out of all of my Google alerts, I have a page full of them. It says the delivery time. That means that I'm going to receive what time I want to receive my alerts. You don't have to check that, but I like to know that 4 o'clock I'm going to receive those alerts. And then I like the digest. So I want it all at one time a day. I don't want it all throughout the day. You can have it like as it happens. You can have it daily or weekly. Once you're in the meeting, and this is a way for you to really connect when you're there, you want to be attentive, you want to take notes, and you want to listen. And sometimes when you're doing a Skype or a video chat, it's a little bit difficult. They might think that you're doing something else. Just you want to say, hey, I'm just going to take notes. I might not always be looking at you, but I am taking notes. It means that you're not on your phone texting. They know that you're looking down and you have a pen in your hand and you're taking notes. And then you want to have specific questions that you've prepared based on the things that you've researched. If you've read 3 months of their blog, then you have critical questions that you can ask them about their company. So ask them about their goals and their expectations for you and for the project. What sets them apart from their competition? How have they been connecting with their current clients? And then how have they been attracting new ones? What's the problem? Where do they need help? And then you want to verbalize your action plan. You've asked them a bunch of questions, you've been very attentive and you've listened, and now it's the next step. So now you want to explain what your next steps are. So you want to tell them, hey, now I'm going to go back to the office, I'm going to make a bid or a proposal, and I'm going to send you an email with the quote. Or maybe it's a regular meeting that you have with your client, but it's new. Then you tell them, hey, this is my next step. I'm going to do the sketches, and then in a week I'll get back to you, blah, blah, blah. You want to make sure you set up that next follow-up meeting, and you can discuss the bid or proposal or whatever the next thing is, but go ahead and try and set that up. If this new client becomes a regular client, set up regular meetings, monthly or quarterly, to see how they're meeting their goals and determine the effectiveness of each project, especially social media campaigns that might need to be a more weekly or monthly instead of quarterly, and then advertising, definitely probably monthly or quarterly to just see how effective each project is. And then you want to strategize with them and you want to plan for the future. They're going to see you more as a team member and not just as a contractor, which is really critical for you keeping long-term clients. Number 8, buy their stuff. Become one of their clients. So becoming a client or a user means that you're getting firsthand experience of their service and or product. You can use your ability to analyze their process or their product or their service and compliment them on it or help them streamline to improve it. If you can't become a client, then ask to talk to some of their longtime clients to get a better picture of the superpowers they may be overlooking. They may not realize, wow, I didn't realize that what I did as a customer service courtesy was really anything big, but maybe that's something that other people just don't do, but they don't realize. Number 9, offer them something for free. Maybe it's the initial consultation session, maybe it's analyzing the product launch, whatever. Many times my initial consultations are about 2 hours long, and this is before I give them a bid, it's before they give me a check, it's, we are just making a relationship. But I regularly offer them simple advice during this initial consultation. Maybe you're going to give them one of your company's giveaway items, but give them something to take away so that they remember you and follow that up. The reason you want to give them something, and it could just be advice, but then they have value. They know that you value them, and then you've given them this stuff for free. Of course, they're going to think that you're going to do so much more when they pay you. And then I said there were 10 tips, but there's really 11. So I want you to send a thank you email, a text, or a card in the snail mail after you have your first sit-down meeting. I think it's always really nice to do that. And then number 11 is if they don't become a client, then make sure you reconnect after that initial meeting, even if you don't win the bid. So a couple weeks later, just say, hey, just wanted to check in with you. Sometimes they say they haven't made a decision, and then just, in a month, check back in, and in 3 months, check back in. You never know when a client will decide or will change their mind with who they've gone with. Keep sending them Christmas cards or whatever you celebrate. Make sure you're continuing to be in touch with them. Just because they're not a client doesn't mean that they're out of your circle. Again, I really believe in relationship building, not necessarily just networking. And that's it. So thank you. Let me know what you think. Just leave a comment below and connect with me on Twitter if you want at Design Recharge. If you want to find out more about finding your superpower and telling your story, go to findingyoursuperpower.com.